Previously on the Platinum Mask. After the crippling defeat of the Lord's Alliance armies at the hands of the many arrow orcs in the north of the Sword Coast, a handful of demoralized soldiers and refugees cautiously make their way back to Neverwinter. These bedraggled survivors soon find their passage increasingly slowed by the rapid approach of a forebodingly early winter. As food and medical supplies run short, they realize they must find somewhere to wait out the coldest months of the year. The ensuing days take a grim toll. As many of the company fall to exposure or fatigue, morale suffers and wounds fester. The howls of a pursuing wolf pack grow ever closer, and a sense of doom would have set in completely were it not for one ray of hope. Ells Dale, a small forest village nestled in the foothills of Mount Hottenall, lies but 2 days from the current path, and therein, salvation. As this episode commences, we find our players back-to-back facing down a pack of bedevilled wolves whose desperation and hunger is matched only by our party's will to survive. The wolves seem wary to make any kind of attack, any kind of action. They've been edging in closer and closer. The group is moving together around you, and then suddenly the tension breaks and 3 of them dash forwards. This one dashes towards you. This one that's Bernard. This one dashes towards Lynn. And the final one dashes towards you, Saya. They come in and they make some attacks. So, Bernard, armor class?
Well, it's 12, but if I'm hit, I'll cast shield as a reaction.
You are hit.
That makes it, let me see, 17. Will that still hit?
I need to equal it, yes?
Any tie advantage is the D20.
Yes, so the wolf jumps and bites into your shoulder, teeth sinking into 6 points of damage to you.
I'm down.
Is that all you have?
I'm glad I got a spell off, though.
Okay, second one comes in and attacks you. It's your armor class at the moment?
13.
Okay, it misses. And the third one comes in and attacks you.
Bring it.
Misses as well.
Awesome.
Alright, so, Ace. Oh, that's Ace 2.
Alright. I'm going to start with a healing word.
Mm-hmm.
Get back up, buddy. Come on.
Reach over next to you. How much do you heal?
1d4 plus 4. 8.
I sit up immediately. This is
two more than your maximum hit points.
I feel awesome and terrible. The wolf is still on me, right?
I told you we were probably going to die here, buddy.
That's true. 3.
That'll be me.
I still got a hit it.
Oh, okay, cool. So the healing word.
That was a bonus action.
Okay.
So now I'm going to walk around and thump it with a stick.
Okay, so you just swing over and come around here and swing it with your...
to lay into it.
Mm-hmm.
That is a 15.
That's going to hit it.
All right.
You're at disadvantage?
He's not. He's been
not
looking
at
after
disadvantage.
us.
Save us, Gus!
I have been keeping my clothes toasty warm with prestidigitation. Oh, that's a whopping 1 damage.
It's enough. It's enough.
The wolf doesn't like being hit. It's like distracted. It lets go of the halfling on the shoulder and turns and glares at you.
Hey, buddy.
All right, so 3.
That's a me.
What are you doing?
Still lying on the ground at the feet of the wolf,
Yep.
having been dropped prone. I'm not going to stand from prone, I don't think, yet. I'm going to say the harm word. I'm going to slur it out, cuss it out in the word that Grandma taught me not to do. I'm casting Toll of the Dead as a cantrip.
Okay, cool.
It is, I point at a creature, well, it's kind of more like that. And I point, I see within range the sound of a dolorous bell and creepy halfling whispers. Boom. It makes the wisdom save, and since it's taken damage, it's D12 or nothing. If it makes a save.
Well, you roll the damage. It does not make the save.
Sweet. 7 points of damage. Necrotic.
The wolf, you see it's like reels back its head and ears ringing at the sound. All the other wolves, even these ones back here, sort of edge back a little bit with fear at the sound that echoes out. They're definitely in a desperate state.
I'll take half my movement to scramble to my feet underneath it so that I'm sort of crouching.
Yep, cool. You're now standing in front of it. And that's your action?
That's my action and my move. Bonus action, there's nothing really I can rock with, so that's cool. I'm good.
Alright, 4.
Yeah, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my... I'm going to cast Ray. I'm going to utter a divine word. And cast... not guidance, word of radiance. So creatures within 5 feet of me, which I think is those
2,
wolves,
both of the wolves.
take both roll for Constitution saving throw. They need 13.
Okay. Cool, they both fail.
Great.
They're obviously worn down by the weight of the winter.
So they both take 1d6 damage. So the first one takes 4, and the second one takes 1.
Cool. So what's the effect of the spell?
The effect of the spell. You utter a divine word and burning radiance erupts from you.
Wow.
Each creature of your choice can... Yeah.
So purple light ushers from your body, from your eyes, and from your mouth, and just slowly tendrils out, or quickly tendrils out, grasping them with these tendrils of energy, and sucks their life essence out. 5.
That's me. I can't quite see what's around me, but I'm going to be...
You are... You've just been attacked by a wolf.
Yep.
So you can see here.
Yes.
And there's another one within 5 feet of you.
I'm going to try and get rid of the one that's on Bernard over there. He seems like he needs it the most. So I'm going to look at it. I'm going to pick out the mangiest patch of fur, and I'm going to tell it exactly how hideous it looks with vicious mockery.
So in spite of the wolf that's right next to you yapping at you, you sort of turn and what do you say to it?
I say, damn it, I'm on the spot here. Excuse me. You call that fur? I've seen better fur on rabbits.
All right, and it makes a save.
Wisdom save 13.
Awesome. Okay, it seems confused, and for not being able to understand the language that you said, the tones of the word just affect it, and it fails, and sort of is taken aback, already reeling from the toll of the dead.
So that's 3 damage, and if it's still up, then it will have disadvantage on its next attack roll.
Alright, it's really, really struggling. It's like staggered back. It's starting to move slightly away. It's not quite outside of 5 feet, but it's definitely living in fear of this group right now as it sort of moves away from you guys and is very confused by all the psychic influences coming at it. So we're at 6.
Yep, that's me. So, is there one in front of me, or there's no one engaged with me at the moment?
No, there is one. There's none engaged with you. There's one just outside of 5 feet.
Well then, I'll just be boring and I'll just blast it.
Alright, cool. You turn around and blast it.
Or do I? Does it 12 hit?
Yes.
Yes! Sorry, there. That's not too bad. Takes a whole 7 force damage.
Okay, swing at it. So reels out to the side as the energy crackles off its hide. This is the one that you've already told the dead. It, in fact, so you Eldritch Blaster, radiant white energy, and it just like pierces through its neck, tearing it open. It falls to the ground, dead, burned, and charred.
Ooh.
Take that, doggy.
Something like, don't hurt my halfling. Or
I don't know that you're my halfling just yet, but we'll get there.
buddy.
Save the child!
That's right, I think you're a child. Yeah, that works.
So,
Think of the children.
7.
It's me.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a dog in range?
Not within range to hit right now, but you could very easily make a dash action and or just a normal move action and get to within range of.
I will move to the closest doggo
This is the one that's right next to
with my sword.
the bard.
Thank you.
Next to Lynn. Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna walk up to the doggo, growling at the bard, and see if I can hit it with disadvantage.
Can but
Which
try.
I do not think I will. Well, unfortunately, my second roll was a 20, but the first was a 5 plus 5, so 10.
Okay, you step over and stumble in the snow. The energy it takes to hold the sword is just a bit hefty at the moment, so you stumble and fall. But you're now presenting yourself as another target to the dog.
It's nice of me.
All right, so back to the dogs. Seeing the smell of blood in the air and these guys fighting over it, this one runs over to Gus, and this one rushes in, Anger's friend. This one's still sort of a little uncertain. It's keeping its distance. This dog comes in and attacks Spear. A natural 20. Doing 12 points of damage to you as it sort of bites into your leg, tearing
Awesome.
into your knee. You feel your kneecap slip in a
that's-
strange way.
Let's end down.
Okay.
12 is my total health.
And drags you to the ground. You fall down and knock your head on a rock. You see that she's gone unconscious. And the wolf is trying to drag her away by the knee. Alright, this one comes over here and attempts to attack you again, Saya. Missing. And this one is on Nariko. What is your armor class?
13.
Okay. It swings in and then bites into your leg. Also, just grabbing onto your thigh and does 7 points of damage to you.
Am I still alive?
Are you still alive?
I am
Still alive.
okay. So then I will hellish
Uh-huh.
rebuke it because that's a reaction.
Awesome. Alright, cool.
You son of a bitch! That's pretty much all I'm doing. It makes a dex saving throw.
Okay, it rolls its dex saving throw. Difficulty.
14.
Okay, cool. It fails. And you do damage.
That's pitiful. Takes a whole 5 fire damage.
So this is a new one for you. It definitely doesn't like that.
You got 18 critical.
I do. Because I'm incredibly good looking, remember?
Devastatingly attractive, the latest ability. Alright, so, and then one is going to swing at Gus. What's your armor class at the moment, Gus?
16.
16, it misses. And that is the wolves. Alright, so 2. Which is you.
Is there any way I can position myself with a 15-foot cube that would not hit my friends?
Yep, if you swing out here, then you could put a 15-foot cube that could get 2 dogs and not your friends. So it would be there, there, there.
2 dogs is not going to cut it. In that case, I'm going to say, God damn it, you get up as well.
Do you have to
7.
be able to touch them?
No, healing word is range. So that's 7 hit points for you.
Alright.
Woo!
And then I'm going to hit it with a stick. Or not.
Alright, cool. You swing. Their armor class you've discovered is about 13 at the moment. So anything.
Healing word, a cantrip? Or
It's
spell?
a
Oh, no,
spell
it's a
with
spell.
bonus action.
If it was a cantrip, this wouldn't be a problem.
Alright, and you're concluded?
Yes.
3.
That's me. I've squatted up. Can you point me on the...
Yep, you're this little guy right here.
And so just behind... Well, sort of Gus is interposing between me and a wolf he's attacking. Is that Gus's character?
That's correct. You are currently safe, tucked between Nariko and Gus.
Is the wolf that Gus is fighting injured?
It is slightly, yes.
I'm going to do it again.
Use your potty mouth.
I'm going to use my potty now.
Alright. You just told the dead, yes?
Yeah.
And how does that generate for you?
Well, I'm seeing it as kind of a manifestation of my telepathic halfling stuff from... but I'm basically thinking it harm and whispering under my breath a word. Let's not repeat it out loud or clearly, but that manifests the necrotic energy of it, realizing its time has come.
Okay. And what's it resisting against?
A wisdom saving throw.
Okay.
DC 12.
It fails, and again, the necrotic damage creeps in through its head. You see its eyes start to crack with green and purple.
Enjoy 9 points of necrotic.
It sort of reels up and spasms in a fit and falls to the ground, writhing dead.
And as this happens, I start crying. I'm doing bad things, but I need to help.
Alright. Awesome. 4.
Yeah, so am I... Is the closest wolf... How far is it from me?
Right in front of you.
Can I kind of get in between those two wolves a bit more? Could I be in 5-foot range of both of those wolves?
Yep, you step through here. The bard gives you some space
Great.
as you step in between them, and
I
then...
utter an holy word as my holy radiance erupts from me, and I cast Word of Radiance.
An unknown language ushers from her lips, and
So
again,
con 13 for both of them.
purple energy radiates from her body, infecting them both and causing them damage.
Radiant damage? You speak and
yes,
it's radiant.
damage. So 6 damage on one, and 1 damage on the other.
All right. Yeah, they're affected by the energy and move on. So 5.
I'm going to once again insult them. It seemed to work out very well last time.
And you.
And you pitiful poodle, prance off!
Excellent. So again, it's sort of like the psychic damage. You're biting words. They must have been domesticated at some point in the distant past before they became the vicious animals they currently are, because they're responding to this so well. They do damage, and it sort of recoils like it's ashamed of itself.
That is a single point of psychic damage, but also disadvantage on its next attack.
Awesome. All right. So it is
That's the real benefit.
disadvantage on its next attack. Okay, good. And 6.
Yes. So, I'll do my bonus action first. As a bonus action, I will curse them. Yeah. So then I will try to hit it with my... I don't even know how to pronounce this, but it's YKLWA. It's a thing. That
Your
one.
claw.
That's
This is the weapon.
yeah. Oh. Don't think I'll hit it though for a whole 5.
Oh, shame.
I know,
Okay.
the other one was a 20. So sad.
Again, you swing wide. The wolf is moving around in the snow, its natural habitat, and you are struggling with fatigue. So 7.
That's me. So I've got a mangled leg and am I prone?
No. You as you were going down, this healing energy came through. You
Yeah.
managed to catch yourself before you went fully to the ground. The wolf is lunging in towards your throat at the moment.
Okay, I'm gonna go try and slash it with my sword again.
Okay.
Good. 16.
It hits. You sort of backswing, you're sort of going down. As it comes in, you come back with your sword and slash across its throat, doing how much damage?
4.
It cuts into the side of its mouth, opening up its cheek, and blood starts issuing out. Normally, a regular wolf would probably run away at this point, but they seem to be either desperate or infused with some otherworldly energy. It is definitely on its last legs, though. And at the top of the round, the wolves go. This wolf is very frustrated. It's going to be sort of coming back in and attacks you again, Saya, but it's fighting at disadvantage and misses.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
This wolf that's currently engaged with you, Spear, it sort of makes one last desperate attempt to hit you. It's your arm class at the moment.
18.
It just bounces off your shield. You plant it into the ground. And Noriko, this wolf comes at you again, missing. And now this wolf, seeing an opportunity and feeling like you're weak, Spear, because of the injury of the other wolf, it sort of jumps into the other side and attacks you. However, you see it coming and quickly maneuvering your shield around to the side. Again, you've got two dogs just barking up your shield at the moment. Seeing the situation that you're in and the wolves that have gone down, you see that the direwolf is definitely thinking about the situation. It's pacing, keeping a considerable distance away from you and just watching this whole thing go down. As the alpha, it's probably just taking its time and deciding whether or not this fight is even worth engaging in. Gus.
Gus basically says, "I'm sick of this," and gets his little hefty club thing, the broken haft from the battlefield, and jams it in the ground, rips up green energy, covering over the top of it, and just lays into one in front of him.
Okay, so you come around and go to hit this one here.
I'm casting Shillelagh, is it?
I am. So that will be a 14.
Hits.
And it will take...
The wolf is hell-bent on taking down Saya at the moment, just barking and gnashing at her.
12 damage.
And you just come in with your shillelagh and you smack it straight in the middle of its spine. You hear this little kick as its spinal column is directly
Oh my
broken.
god, I'm right down here. I have to. Oh.
And it rolls and falls to the ground. Finish him.
Oh, it just like rolls over, falls away, and this little, just very quickly, these little spores just out of that wound. As Gus just takes the stick and points it at the direwolf.
Direwolf growls in the distance. You see at this point, somewhere beyond the direwolf's shadow grows long, or at least that's what you think, until you see the shadow acting out the turn of the direwolf, and is in fact much farther in the trees, maybe 300 feet away. It's a distant shadow, something much larger than the direwolf. 2, 3.
Yeah, well, he's
Right.
just pointed out the direwolf, and I'm sick of killing wolves. I mean, I'm a nature lover. They're hungry, but this is strange. They're clearly manipulated, right? I got that insight. Oh. So I scream, "Can we please stop killing wolves?" And I make a break, and I was pointing at the direwolf, going, "It's that one! Let's get that one!" And I'm trying to make some movement towards it.
Yep.
I've got 25 feet to move. I'm trying to avoid the wolf at the
So
back there.
you're gonna have to sort of go quite wide, so you end up sort of around here. You swing wide enough
I
to
was
stay
hoping to
out
go
of
the other way around the group,
pretty much the same distance, just staying
but
keeping your
up
distance.
towards the direwolf.
If you go through here, you'll provoke attacks of opportunity. I'm assuming you don't want to do that, but let me know if it's not the case.
No, I don't want to do that, but I want to move as close to the group as possible, so I won't lose track of movement. Otherwise, I'm just walking away from the group if I can't get towards the direwolf. So I'll stay where I am.
Right here.
Yeah.
All right.
And I will pull 2 weapons, my 2 daggers.
Yep.
One in each hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I will ready an action to Toll of the Dead as soon as the direwolf comes within 60.
Fair enough. 4.
Yeah. Are those 2 wolves still alive?
All those 4 wolves are still alive.
Alright.
Only 2 of the wolves have been slain.
And they're still 5 feet.
There's
me.
2 of them within 5 feet of you at the moment, yes.
Gonna use some holy words. Words of radiance. Let's go.
Alright, you continue to just chant these divine words in a language that none of you recognize, but nonetheless, this divine purple radiant energy keeps issuing from her body and continues to rack these 2 wolves with damaging it.
13.
Yep, it's affecting this one this time. This other one seems to be just a bit out of reach at the moment.
4.
Alright, so desperation must be causing it to continue to attack you as it goes, but you just keep moving out of the way. It's actually trying to get to you, but it's the energy that's keeping it at bay. It's like trying to push through and reach in. Sorry, that one died.
Which one did I have which one's in front of me?
The one that's directly in front of you is over here.
On that side, okay.
Can I actually use my movement to just move around the back of that wolf that's in front of me, between the next 2 wolves, but without leaving the engagement distance
Yep.
of...
So you swing around to here.
Yes.
I'll say it was on these 2 wolves that you did the thing. Which actually causes... oh no, that's fine. Alright, cool. So, we've got 2 damaged wolves and 1 completely undamaged wolf at the moment who's been attacking you. So that's 5.
I will, if I see one that's been ignored, I feel like that's the one that needs my attention at this point in time.
The wolf? Well, there's 2 very injured wolves over here who have been fighting against Spear over here.
Well,
And then there's this one that's tussling with Nariko.
Well, the best effect of my vicious mockery is the disadvantage, and the other 2 might be dead by the time they attack again.
True.
So yes, I'm just going to take a quick appraisal of the battlefield to decide what I'm going to do. I'm going to look over and say, be careful not to trip over your rather untalented comrades.
This wolf does not seem to be able to understand what it is you're trying to tell it. Does it take?
Sooner or later.
Yeah.
Takes it as a compliment. It's now the pack leader.
It looks around and sees it has nobody immediately near it, and then just goes back to snapping at Nariko. Alright. So 6.
Alrighty. Well, I won't stab it with the other thing. I'll stab it with the dagger because I might have more chance of stabbing it
Pronounce
with the
dagger,
dagger.
not
Well, that
your
too. That too. Come on, dice. Be nice to me. Oh, that's okay. 14.
Yep, that hits. You finally sort of swing around. You've swung around with the sword. You come back with the dagger. The wolf is confused by the vicious mockery, even if it does no damage, and that gives you the opportunity to just swing the blade in.
Alrighty. Come on. That's okay. That's a whole 2. So that's a whole 5 damage.
You stab it clear into the shoulder of the wolf. It's not very happy with it. Yelps and sort of snarls back at you. 7.
It's me.
Yep.
So I've got two wolves.
They're both
moving.
just they're just
Oh,
chomping
sorry.
at you. And
It's
you're
another 2 damage to that.
okay. It's even
I
less.
forgot it's
happy.
cursed still, yeah? Should be.
It is cursed,
Yeah.
yes.
Gain extra bonus to damage.
Yeah, they're both snapping up. You're just using your shield to sort of push
Okay.
them at bay.
Well, I'm gonna swing at the one that looks the worse off.
Yep.
Okay. Yes, I hit. Oh, yeah, 13,
Yeah, cool,
18.
awesome.
Yeah.
You swing through, just like swing over the top of your shield, and the sword comes down, and catches it in the back of the head. I don't care what you roll, finish him.
Oh, cool. Okay. So I guess Sabir knocks one of the wolves aside with her shield, and then goes back with the head of it. Comes down on the back of the head of the other one, and sees its head split open and the blood gush to the ground. And then she looks to see who else is in need of help.
Well, you turn back to
Or
the
if
wolf
anyone
that
saw
is
that also
still
would.
attacking you.
Well, you don't know.
You push yourself you dash across and push yourself into a situation where you're side by side with Nariko and giving her a hand if you want.
Yes.
Alright, awesome. And the wolves, again, anyone with any kind of nature knows that wolves would not continue fighting in this situation. It's desperation or some kind of otherworldly circumstances. But now that you've pushed in the way and sort of going to protect Nariko, these two wolves both launch attacks at you. And they both miss as you swing your shield across. And they just clocking them both in the side of the face.
That's awesome.
It's great having a high armor class.
And they are both knocked so that they are unable to get a word in edgewise. Alright, Gus.
Is there another one near me?
No, you're completely unengaged at the moment.
There's
You can
two
see
wolves?
this one stalking in the distance, and there's two wolves over here currently trying to take down your paladin.
I'm gonna make my way towards I'm gonna walk up, clock one of those.
This way?
Yep. So to the one that's close to the actual dial.
Mm-hmm. So you just run straight through the middle. Yep.
And I'm going to attempt to clobber it with an underarm swing to try and
Yep.
knock it away. That's a 16.
Hits.
And that's for 10 damage.
Finish him.
Basically just coming through, and I'm not really stopping. It's kind of 1, 2, 3, and it just goes, punts out of the way. I'm trying to do,
With a
for
yelp.
want of a better word, a non-lethal damage to knock it out rather than to murderizing it.
So, yeah, you do non-lethal damage. You
I appreciate
swing
that,
it
Gus.
into the side of the head, and you knock the wolf over, and it falls unconscious to the ground just over you.
And then I'm going to keep my movement going towards the dire wolf.
Okay.
Because I am quite literally sick of its behavior. It's unacceptable.
It is growling, and its language seems conventional. It's 2, 3,
Three.
sorry.
So it didn't. It's not approaching. It didn't approach. I would like to move. Can I now move without provoking towards it?
Yes. So you're gonna dash. You fatigued. You're half movement at the moment.
Oh, my movement's terrible at this point in time. Actually, I will actually instead just. I'll double move after Gus.
Cool. You want to go ahead of him?
I'll go as far as I can.
So you're
Wading through the snow and muttering curses at the direwolf.
So double move at half movement brings you to about there.
Yeah, 25 foot.
Cool. All right. And 4.
Yeah, so I'm gonna keep on going with this holy word of radiance. Are there two wolves still next to me?
No, they both seem to have died.
Oh, both of them.
Uh-huh.
Great. Is Aaron? All right. There's only one wolf left.
Aaron, the other guys are sort of back over here a little bit. You sort of drew the wolves out away from the rest of the group.
Great. Then I'm gonna start heading towards that dire wolf. Can I please move? I'm just gonna take my movement, so half of that would be 15 feet towards the dire wolf.
Okay. Yep.
And then I'm going to cast Guiding Bolt.
Yep.
So I will throw a flash of light towards this creature as this purple light reaches towards this giant direwolf.
Spinning through the trees.
And that is... Oh, it's actually...
I believe in you.
Thank you. 12. It's a hit.
It just misses. It's sort of the wolf just moves in as it starts turning and just like dodges behind a tree, bark, and bits of snow explode off right next to it. That's 5.
What's the range of that one?
120 feet.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's a good one.
5.
I'm going to continue on with the mockery.
Are
Because,
you mocking the wolf?
yes, I'm mocking the wolf. Because I feel like we should get rid of this before we worry about the others.
Okay, having been battered down by the mockery previously, you sort of turn to it and finish him.
I'm just going to very quietly tell him that he is a ugly pug and he should go and just be quiet in the woods, and his ears just going to sort of droop down as he feels incredibly deflated by this news.
Okay, he does in fact do that, and he literally just sits down in the
You
snow
are a bad
and
boy.
dies of shame.
So, just to let you know, if it dies, I get 5 health back because I cursed it.
Oh yes, it dies.
Just let you know.
Not just if you killed it, anyone kills it.
If it dies.
Okay, cool. It's dead.
Thank you,
Pretty
doggy.
amazing.
I just imagine the situation where he's walking around and he's like, suddenly I feel better.
Only once.
Yeah, so you
Yeah,
talk
okay.
it down so it feels completely insignificant, and then you take advantage of its spiritual defeat and draw remains of its psychic energy from it into your body. You see it desiccate and become like a shriveled husk of just fur, skin, and bones.
Oh my god,
as you
you're a
take
monster.
that energy inside
You
you.
don't know it was me.
I see the wolf mojo floating into you, and you're like,
I just feel like it was right. I didn't know I could do that.
After everything Gus has been through, I'm real happy he didn't have to see that.
I squeal out, we're trying not to kill the wolves!
Okay, and so 6.
Oh, that's me. Well, that's down. So I guess I'll move towards where everyone else is moving.
Well, everyone else is kind of paying attention to the. Well, Gus has been the one leading the way, but now
You look a little
Saryar
bit
has stepped up.
unhealthy too, don't you?
Sorry?
You look a little bit unhealthy.
Yes,
still.
I am a little unhealthy.
I will touch you and heal you for a whole 1 hit point.
Sweet.
Wow, how do you do that?
It's a Azamar thing. 1 per long rest, you can heal them for 1 hit point.
And would you like to
Oh,
make a
that's
movement
nice.
action
Isn't it nice?
this turn?
Yeah, so I'll still move then, I guess, towards the group as they're moving.
Okay.
So it's, 15.
1 hit point.
You
Okay.
did save me, so.
And then it's you,
Is that a
Spear.
range?
Yeah, is there.
It's a
What's
touch
happening? Is there
Well,
anything
everyone
visual?
seems to be making movements in the direction of this dire wolf. The dire wolf hasn't made a movement in the direction of you guys. It's just been kind of stalking the outskirts of the battle, but now it's avoided a beam of energy that shot out from Saya, and you're not sure what it's going to do next.
Okay. Well, I think I will also move towards the werewolf if there's nothing else going.
All right. Do you want to swing out wide this way, or go in the same direction that Noriko is?
I think I will move out and around and try and flank.
This way.
Yeah, that's right.
So
Using the trees
moving
as cover as much
yeah.
as I can.
half movement because you're moving very slowly.
Yes, I am. I'm only moving 15 feet at a
That's
time.
right.
at this
Cool.
point.
All right. The dire wolf, sort of seeing the group, decides to, at this point, seeing as you attacked it, doesn't like it, it starts dashing through the trees. It sort of just takes an aggressive stance and then starts moving quickly through the trees and runs up to here
Oh, yeah.
and then just
Oh yeah.
barrels into you. It's sort of makes a attack. Missing. It's your arm class at the moment.
Mine?
Yes.
14.
All right. So it
That's
misses.
good.
Yeah. Shut up. It's good for me.
No, it's good for me too. It just may not be good for the dire wolf. Good enough for the dire wolf.
So it swings. It's just like this. It swings in and it's just trying to barrel you over and misses.
Oh.
And yeah, and then it sort of ducks away, and you can make an attack of opportunity.
Yes, please. Disadvantage. That'd be 13 to hit.
Just misses. So sort of ducks away and sort of looks to take some cover in some nearby trees, but is saw that it wasn't. I thought you might be an easy target. Turns out you were not. So Gus.
Seeing as it is speaking a general language, and I still have speak to animals.
You still have that up, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm marching on up to it. It's very annoyed. And I'm just like, you need to bugger off, buddy. There'll be enough of this, and I'm going to.
Is it speaking?
It's not talking, but Gus is talking to it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go up there and effectively put the boot in with the stick.
Right, so you're going to tell it to bugger off and hit it.
Hit it upside the head, because it's driven these poor wolves far beyond their natural makeup, and I don't like its shadow. So that will be a 17.
Cool, that hits.
Yeah.
And that's 9 damage, magical damage, if that makes a difference.
No, it doesn't make a difference, but it definitely doesn't like it.
Well, surprise, surprise, neither do we. But yeah, I'm giving it the old stern eye.
Okay, cool. Make an intimidation roll.
That would be a 21.
Okay. Cool.
9 on the dice did help.
Okay. You're not at disadvantage?
I'm not. I've been keeping my clothes warm.
Okay, so that is your action.
You're
Alright.
not on one of the wings.
Scram! I scream, wading through the snow as far as my movement will let me get up. I believe it's about 10.
You pop
12
out from behind the druid's cape and go, scram!
And I cast Create Bonfire under it.
Great.
It gets a dex save.
Yeah, what's the DC?
12, I think, for my...
Okay, yeah, it sort of jumps back away from the fire that just erupts in that spot.
Yeah, that's a fire.
That's your action.
That's my action.
Saya?
I cast a bolt of radiant purple energy comes at it real hard as I cast Guiding Bolt. 14 to hit.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. Just hits. As it sort of like jumps back, it's like in midair and doesn't have a chance to react to your attack. Sling it out.
Alright, it does 8 radiant damage after some dreadful dice.
Okay, it's in the air, jumping back, and then it's like you go, boosh, and the guardian bolt slams it straight in the chest. It's like, woo, it comes back on its hind legs, and then sort of like turns and starts moving in a angling away fashion.
Does Guiding Bolt light it up as well?
It says,
And
ouch!
it also, before the end of your next turn, has a
Disadvantage?
anyone who hits it has advantage when you hit the next person to go.
So that
It
eliminates
cancels out our
our...
disadvantage.
Yeah.
Jason.
Okay. That does cancel your disadvantage, yeah. The
Yeah.
next person who hits it. Cool. So, Lynn?
Yeah, I'm just gonna go along with the general theme of telling it to run away and do so with force. Yeah, you better run, you mangy mongrel.
Okay, it fails the psychic damage.
So that is a grand total of 1 psychic damage.
Alright, it makes a little whine, which is basically it saying, I'm so hungry, but I'll leave. What you hear? And takes
Are
damage.
we all hearing this, or is this because...
He's
I have
on
speak to
Speak with
animals on.
Animals.
Yeah, he turned it on. So at the end, just in the prologue, which you guys all missed, but you should check out if you haven't seen it yet, Augustus attempted to talk to the wolves and cast Speak with Animals. So he still has that up because it lasts for
10 minutes.
10 minutes. And while the other wolves were not making much sense, this dire wolf seems to be making regular sense, talking regular animal tones. You're not sure. Thinking about it now, it didn't seem. It seemed like it was more stalking these other wolves than actually engaging with them. They weren't running as a pack, from what you could tell. Anyway, so that leaves us to Noriko.
Yep. Well, everyone seems to be yelling at it and still attacking it, so I'll go, I guess, as close, I don't know, around, just behind the halfling if I can. So that
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
can
gonna
get exactly that far.
hit anybody else, and I will Eldritch Blast it. Because why not? Bugger off, because everyone else seems to be saying that I'm just copying everyone else, really. Oh, that's not a bad disadvantage. 18.
You don't have disadvantage.
Well, I still rolled a disadvantage, so I'll still take the lowest number, which is fine.
What's the highest?
18. 17 plus 6, so that would be
Okay.
23.
Alright, you hit it. Roll damage.
3 points damage.
It's definitely looking seared and singed and demoralized from the onslaught. And you have. Would you like to do Thing Spear before it attempts to make its escape into the woods?
Am I even in distance to do anything? The only thing I can have.
Unless you want to throw something.
I
at
have
it.
I have a javelin, but I don't know what the range is of the javelin. Does anyone? It says 30/120 feet. I don't know.
So I think
which
you
is true.
get disadvantage after 30.
Yeah.
But so you can throw it up to 30.
So you could move to here, and then if you wanted to throw your javelin.
Okay. I'm
But
gonna-
strictly speaking, you can't have double disadvantage, so at this point you can throw it up to 120 and it'll be the same.
Awesome. So I'm gonna try and throw for its back leg to try and maim it.
Yeah, sure.
19. 16 plus 5. So
They both hit. Okay, I mean, but obviously you hit even with the disadvantage.
okay.
It sticks into its back leg.
And it does 9 damage.
It is on its last legs. It is limping and trying desperately to get away from you. All it can, in spite of its pain and its desire to escape, it's all it can think of is how hungry it is, which is what you're gathering from its body language. And in the wolf's turn, it sort of like tries to move, but it's only moving at half speed because of the javelin.
Seeing as this one is actually speaking
Mhm.
articulately instead of some weird language I don't understand, I'm actually going to call after it and say, if you're willing to stop attacking, I can feed you and heal you, and pop the shillelagh away and come after it with some food.
Okay, you're gonna. So he.
Continue attacking it.
Yeah, I just like give me a moment with the guys. Give me a moment with this guy. And come after it, and I'll put the stick away and downpower it.
Make a persuasion test.
I'm probably not very persuasive. That was a
No,
good guy.
you start walking after it, and everybody else has been yelling and jeering and shooting it, and it's just, it's afraid and it's cold and it's hungry, and it will likely die already.
I'm
Like
gonna
you
double
don't need to
move
do
up
any
to
more
it.
damage to it.
Okay,
Sure.
Can I make it my way in one move? I still move at 30 around.
Mhm.
Can I make it all the way there?
Yes. You can.
Once I'm there, I'm going to attempt to get around to the front of it and give it a mushroom, a good berry.
Okay.
I imagine it'll be snappy, but I'll see if I can get it in there.
Cool. You rush around to it needs to eat and swallow it. Obviously, so it needs to accept it from you, which means it needs to trust you. You've already made your check this turn, so Russ has put his weapon away and runs up to the wolf. What would you like to do?
Speak the hurting word.
After you were so sad about killing the other wolves?
No, because this is an evil wolf, right?
As far as you know, yes.
You are walking up to it and you're going to feed it, and it just
I delay.
collapses
I
to
delay.
the ground.
Delay, whatever the thing is. I ready an action to
To hurting.
annihilate it as soon as it turns on my idiot friend.
All right, awesome. You ready that action. Okay. What would the rest of you like to do? no real initiative order going on at the moment.
I'd like to prepare some choice words, either for the wolf if this doesn't work out, or for my friend if it does. If the choice words are for my friend, I will not put magical force behind it.
Okay.
I will move as far as my movement will let me, and towards the wolf.
Yeah, it's all just narrative at this point.
Yeah.
So
So
we're just
I'll
gonna-
move towards the wolf, but ready a nasty spell.
Spell or
and the two of you.
Yeah, so I'll just sort of hold the action. Like, so if it makes a totally obviously hostile move towards
Yeah,
him,
cool.
because you did say like just give me a second with him. Yeah. So I'll give him a second.
Seeing everyone else backing down, Spirit's just gonna ready a javelin.
Okay, cool. Yep, you're all ready to kill the heck out of this thing
Just-
that's
It's-
almost dead. It's got one wound left,
Yeah, we've been
holding on.
traumatized.
We're pretty
We've been
paranoid now.
traumatized.
Yeah.
It looks up
We've
at
been
you, it's like just
starving.
fear in its eyes.
Ooh,
Yeah,
Ooh,
make
Sarah.
a charisma roll.
Just it's gonna take some time, guys. Just let it calm down. That is a.
Can I like walk over to assist him? Because
Okay,
it looks
as
like
he-
he's
as he
trying to
goes-
That's a
persuade
10.
it.
That's
I'll
a
be
10.
like,
Okay,
do you need a hand over there?
it's
I like, get
not.
myself down low and.
Yeah, you do so, and it's sort of like breathing. You see it's heavy, it's bleeding out from multiple wounds, and you get down, you sort of holding out the berry, and it just lunges out to bite at your hand, and you guys just unleash. Okay, you're gonna attempt to stop them?
Yeah, but like wait. It's gonna
Okay.
take a little while.
I am gonna
Right, well,
ignore him.
What are you doing?
I
Are you
will
trying to feed it like
absolutely
this, the
ignore him.
mushroom?
Yeah.
You're trying to use the mushroom as a suppository? You're trying to shove it down the nostril? What's going on? Because if you're holding it out like this, that thing's gone.
Okay, you take 9 points of damage as it
I don't.
launches into your
Dodge?
hand. Huh? No?
All right.
It rolled to hit you.
Oh, I hit. 9 points of damage. Hey.
Grabs into your arm, large, its giant teeth sinking into your fleshy, meaty bits.
I feel it's pertinent to ask, does it also swallow the good berry while it's doing this?
No, it doesn't understand what he's trying to do quite.
Yes, that hurt.
Okay, would anyone else like to do
Are you
anything? You're
down?
gonna hold it
Yeah.
action. He's like saying no.
Stab it with a javelin?
We release
Well,
now.
do you want to listen to him?
I
He's like,
can't
no.
say
He's
anything.
unconscious.
I believe I had a
Did
very
Did
specific ready action.
You have 9 hit points.
I only have 9.
Okay, you're like, no, and he's like, "Rawr!" You're like, no. And he sort of grabs your arm, tears you, and flings you over this way for turning wildly under this last of its energy. "Rawr!" Menaces the group, and the javelin flies in. The eldritch bolt goes off. The hurting word goes in. The vicious mockery goes off. And another guardian bolt, and the thing is beyond saving at this point. Sort of falls to the ground and it is dead. However, Gus is also bleeding out.
I'm
run
gonna.
over.
You do it.
Sure, I can lay on hands. 5
You guys
points, huh?
both run over.
You can do more, so you
Yeah,
you can. Do
I will
it.
run over and lay on hands.
For
5 points.
Just give him one to stop the death saves. Think about what he was doing.
I hit a mushroom.
Alright, so you've killed the wolf. You've killed the other wolves. There are 6 wolf corpses lying around the wilderness, and obviously this one. The 2 surviving
You're
soldiers.
hungry and cold.
Meat back on the menu, boys! I say, doing my best orc impersonation.
Yeah, of course. Looking at the meat, you guys just they're skinny, they're whatever, but you guys have supplies to start fires. You can warm things. You get a fire going. You've got another full day ahead of you before you get to Ells Dale. Anyway, it's a day and a half is what you figure from what Doran Thundar said.
I like to peer after
so-
that shadow, just if in case I see anything there.
It's gone.
Can I skin them for their fur?
Yes,
I think
of
we're all
course.
doing that.
Yep. So you all get in. You like skin them. You take the flesh out. You sort of start pulling out some pots. Can I have everybody who has proficiency in nature to make a nature check?
That's disadvantage for us, isn't it?
18.
Proficiency in nature?
Yes.
So, that's a whole 5.
As you're cutting apart these wolves, you're starting to you cut off the flesh, and then immediately underneath the flesh you find this growth, this tumorous growth, and you're sort of just in there, and then sort of as you start pulling out more meat, you find more of these growths. They're sort of about the size and shape of different types of tubers, really. Oddly colored, dull grays, oranges, kinds of things. And they have little roots coming out of them, and they're intertwined with the muscle tissue of these animals.
Is this the end of the combat?
Yeah, combat's over.
Is there any in the direwolf or just the regular wolves?
Some, as you skin the direwolf as well, but not as many.
And how do those tubers fry up? Since I'll be cooking both the wolf meat and the tumors.
Okay, cool.
The tumors?
I'm not sure I'm going to eat them, but I'm going to cook
So you
them.
start separating them, you build a pile of tubers and a pile of meat.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. They look very much, and you break them, and they behave very much like... they look kind of like mushroomy meat on the inside. Kind of like softy, fleshy.
I'll keep a few samples, but I'd also like to get out my herbalism kit and have a poke around. See what's up with those things.
And I'd like to get my cook's utensils and see how they flavour up with a bit of Tabasco.
Guys, my suggestion is maybe stick with the mushrooms for the moment.
You mean your mushrooms or those mushrooms?
These mushrooms. These mushrooms grow here on this stick rather than in you like these.
I see what you do with that stick.
If it helps.
My point is, I don't think you should eat the mushrooms that come from inside the wolves.
That stick is covered in
how many of these
gore
wolves
right
did
now,
you
right?
whack? Did you whack these mushrooms into these wolves?
No,
Oh, 3. He definitely killed the majority of the wolves with that stick of his. Yeah, for sure.
The mushroom stick. He killed them with the mushroom stick and they're full of mushrooms.
Look,
And now he's saying eat my mushrooms.
I'm saying the current mushrooms that they're good for eating. They're good eating mushrooms. None of the mushrooms are good for eating.
If we can wait until morning, I can help prepare a spell that can prepare the meat and maybe purify it.
Excellent. Gus, I love you, buddy, but, with that whole talking to the wolf thing,
It was just
just frankly, there's a
It
lot
was
of
hungry.
hallmarks of Sure.
Just didn't have to die, is all I'm saying.
No.
But the fact that it is dead means we will probably live a bit longer.
True, but eating those things might shorten that length of living, is all I'm saying.
The direwolf's pelt is big and thick.
You make that into something wearable.
Something warm, which, apart from yourself, everybody else is lacking.
Although, unless I'm mistaken, my wolf has not been helping me with my exhaustion.
No, it had. I had given you one less level of
I
exhaustion
did not
last time.
catch that.
Oh, and the ability to create magical bonfires at will, does it spare me at all from the cold?
You create the bonfire. They're now relying on you to make the fires happen. Everybody is sharing those fires. Are you making just a lot of fires all the time?
I can only make one.
That's
So-
right.
But we could, use that to light other ones.
Yeah, sets anything on fire.
If we have enough things to...
You can dry wood out of it with them. Force some wood drying.
Yeah, force some wood drying. It's definitely helped, but at this point, it's just cold. You're just not equipped. You don't have the clothes. Having fire around, yes, when you stop, but you have to keep moving.
So we're going to turn some of
Huddle
these
under the
some of these skins into
vest. Would that
Something
work?
to
You can
wear.
make several vests. With,
even a cloak of some kind.
Yeah, look, with 6 wolf pelts, you could sort of dry out, fashion enough to keep either you or the other survivors warm.
I would like to give one.
Or twice as many halflings, just saying.
I would like to give one to Erin and one to Doran. I think they've done
You
a
can
lot,
make
and I think
4
quite
rough
good.
cloaks out of the direwolf and the other wolves.
We should give one to the paladin. You see what you did with that shield? Stepping in and...
I mean, I feel like you 3 should be the priority because we're kind of okay.
How many
I'm
other survivors
kind of
are there who would be in need?
Oh, yeah, do we have
apart from
survivors?
Doran and Aaron, there are 2 other soldiers.
Well, I can warm myself. It's just that I'm also burned. That's not helping my cause. I'm happy for someone else to take cause.
Well, let's give one to Erin and one to Doran if no one has, because they're quite ill. If no one has any objections to that.
I agree.
Yeah.
Alright, so that night, are you going to keep moving? At this point, it's late afternoon. You've been going for half the day. You've got approximately a day and a half left. Your options are either to walk until sunset and then find a place to camp, or you could also walk through the night if you just want to go and try and arrive around dawn. Or you could rest now.
How likely is it that the other survivors will drop dead during that walk if we walk at night?
With the cloaks, I mean, they're not one for food at the moment. With the good berries are on just enough rations to keep them going. You're not sure is the answer. If anyone has a medicine, they could make a medicine check.
I do.
Yep.
I got a survival check though, and I'm thinking that this weather's set in fast, and it's only going to get worse. We should push.
That's a 19 on medicine.
The one you're most concerned about is Erin. She's slowly oozing through that leg wound, and it's just not getting better. And even like healing a wound with good berries or laying hands on here and there, it just seems like it's too deep, too far gone.
She needs restoration.
She needs
Could we amputate
proper
it?
medicine.
Cut it off when infection.
So should we
It's
go
in
as
the-
quickly as possible?
It's in the
In
inner
the-
thigh. It seems like one of her major arteries is slowly seeping.
So if we want to save it, we have to push on.
Alright. Let's
Move
keep
quickly
on.
onwards.
All right. So you don't, but you harvest the meat
Yep.
and the tubers.
I leave the tubers.
All of the tubers.
No, I'm taking
He's
some
took some
tubers.
samples.
Okay. You take a few tubers. You push on. So leaving the wolf pelts, leaving the bodies of the wolves behind, what's left, what you don't use. You pack the meat. You take the cloaks that you've made, the improvised untanned cloaks, for warmth as best as possible. Sticky they might be, but they definitely keep people warm. You push into the night. You push through the night. Anyone who wasn't yet on 3 levels of fatigue now is. You are unable to recover any of the hit points from a rest or a short rest. You don't take one because you want to get to this place. It's getting to about 3 o'clock in the morning, and you start to see the corona of the sun. Just not the coronas. You start to see the peaks of dawn starting to just rise as you come over a hill through the forested path that you're on, and you see the peaks of some mountains in the background, looking ominous and large in the distance. And against that dim light, you start to see the fire, like smoke from various fires. You count maybe 30 lines of smoke, like just curling up from various places. You can't yet see the settlement, but you can tell it's definitely there. The hallmark signs are there. You see down the trail, just ahead of you, lying face down in the snow, what appears to be a body. You all make perception tests.
5.
8.
Anyone get higher than
19?
19. Yeah, cool.
Nice.
You see the blonde hair of a young man sort of just flicking in the wind, just from the physicality of him. He's not wearing any armor, and there are also spatters of, even in the darkness, you can see that there are, against the white of the snow, there are darker patches around him in the snow. Would anyone like to approach? It's about 120 feet away at this point.
I'll start rushing him. My little halfling feet are gonna offer him some help. Passed out dude. in the
Running
snow.
at half speed.
That's how you halfling at half speed. So,
Okay, so does anyone want to move forwards with Bernard?
Yeah, we'll walk with him.
Okay, so you all sort of move ahead of the horses and the rest of the group and come down, and you realize that you don't think that he's still alive. Rudimentary check. Everyone can make a medicine check.
No.
no, he's cactus.
Oh wow, 2 3s.
It's a 20.
That's a savage.
Yeah.
You can see that through the clothing, a large amount of blood is like just coming out of the wound in his back. It's like gone through a leather vest that he was wearing, and it looks like an axe blade has gone in and severed his spinal cord. He's fallen forwards into the snow. There was some spatter from that axe as it went in, and it's just been slowly leaking out. Footprints around him. Anyone got an investigation roll?
I got survival for tracking.
Anyone survival?
Yeah, I can do survival.
We can all do survival.
20.
That's not too bad.
Why are you rolling twice again?
Because I'm at disadvantage.
Okay, yeah, of course. You should all be disadvantaged.
Yeah, we're all at this.
16 at disadvantage.
Cool. All right. So you can see the footprints tend to go back down the trail in the direction of the village. Apart from that, you roll the man over. It seems to be a young man, about 15 years old. Seems to be healthy looking, well dressed. His gear is equipped for the weather. So it's sort of like just a leather vest with the woolen lining on the inside, some heavy woolen pants, some good leather boots, a knife just for general purposes. Who doesn't carry a knife? And a small sack containing a few odds and ends. One thing that you notice is he's wearing a particularly well-made twisted iron torque or circlet around his neck.
Am I able to
About 15 years old.
at least memorize what it looks like?
Yep.
So,
It's very simple. It's just
identification
well made.
purposes.
I'm
Oh,
actually
well made.
gonna
Okay.
scoot down and just take it off.
Can I just say,
Yep.
everyone,
Yeah.
as I'm standing there looking, going, there's something really strange about this. We're close to town. He come from town. He got done in. And according to what you're saying, they went back to town and left his body here.
Yep.
About an hour, or probably about an hour and a half out.
He's
Your
probably
guess.
been murdered, one might say.
Yeah, but was he murdered for trying to leave the town? And why wouldn't they take him back to town? Like, why leave the body here?
Maybe they're on the way to town to murder the rest of the people.
Yeah, but I mean, these are some things we should think about.
So there's only one set of footprints though. Can I maybe derive if it's a Bigfoot, Littlefoot, heavy person?
But there are his footprints. Obviously, look to
Okay.
be moving along. They're moving at some speed, and then the footprints that came up, took the axe out and left, appear to be sort of average humanoid size boot prints. Who got the 16 on the tracking roll? That was you, right?
Yeah.
So you sort of follow the trail and you notice 2 other sets of footprints. Again, humanoid, average weight, and they group together and then all head back to town.
Back
That's
to
like
town.
another sort of
Yeah.
50 feet down there.
Well, looks like they were sent out after this guy. A group of people, possibly.
So there's tracks from these 3 coming out of town and then back in.
Yeah, so it looks like people gathered together at a spot after they might have chased him and not known his direction. And
Now, this guy doesn't look like a slayer. He's not covered in scars. He's not missing
It's a
teeth.
15-year-old boy.
It's a 15-year-old boy and nicely dressed at that.
Yes.
And look at this knife. This is a knife for whittling, not for murdering.
Yeah.
Why chop a 15-year-old boy in the back and then go to town? Look, wherever we're going now, there's kiddie murderers there. So I'm just flagging. As a halfling,
Yeah.
easily mistaken for children,
I'm
high priority for me.
Alright, I would say a higher priority are the potential other wolves or other things that are going to kill us, like the cold and exhaustion. I would much rather face a threat that I can stab.
To be fair, it seems to be the way people are doing things these days. Be an asshole over here, be an asshole over there, kill a kid. run
We
an
should
army
take
to
the
a
kid
ditch.
back into town. Like, we should bring him back.
Do we have any mules or horses
We
left?
do have
You have,
mules.
yeah, you have the 2 horses, the 2 mules, the 2
I
pack
imagine we have
mules.
sick people.
They're loaded up with like just military supplies, and, like tents, canvases, stuff like that.
Is there? Why do you want to bring the boy back?
Bury him?
Respect.
He's probably a towns member.
But he seems to have run away and then been killed, so
Yeah.
I don't know if we want to be associated with this person because people immediately see his body. If they're the ones that killed him, they might come after us.
And if they're not, they might assume that we killed him and still come after us.
Gus
I agree with the halfling there.
sighs, rolls his eyes, leans down, wakes the kid up on his back, and just starts trundling towards town.
And yeah, thank you. Pat on. So there are so many reasons to do the wrong thing. Huh? I'm looking at the paladin for support, huh?
No, I agree.
Yeah.
It's awful to lose a loved one and never know what happened to them.
All right.
You have
At
to be
this point, on the way
cautious,
into town, Aaron's starting to get really delirious, really tired at this point.
Can I come? Erin, are you all right? Are you going okay? Will you make it for the hour?
She talks, but she doesn't seem to make much sense.
I'm
We're
gonna put
almost
my
there.
body under her and
Okay.
help
Does she
support her.
believe in any gods?
Aaron?
Look, Erin's kind of a
She
hard
might believe
ass,
in them, she just doesn't want to be owned by them.
right? She's kind of a hard ass who's like not taking the positions on the horses so that others may go before her, all that sort of leadership nonsense, right? I seen
Yeah,
this before.
yeah, that's
Exactly right.
Yeah.
But now she's so weak that maybe she doesn't get the choice but to say, up, come on, let's put you on the stretcher. No, it's time for you to not walk.
You'd need to
now."
make a stretcher. You're very close to town at this point.
She's supporting her. We'll be right. Let's keep going.
Let's push on to town. Let's get in there.
Can we cautiously push onto town, like aware that somebody's just been murdered out in the cold an hour ago before dawn? So we'll just.
Well, it's yeah.
Well, maybe you guys should go into
You're
town
not
with
sure.
Erin.
Did you make a medicine roll when looking at the body? That's right, you got a 20. The body, it's really hard to tell because of the cold, but it seems like it's reasonably fresh. You definitely got to it before any wolves or anyone else did, so it would be in the last few hours
Oh, for sure.
before you got to it.
Blood pooling.
If
Still
anything,
footprints,
he
right?
keeps my back warm.
It's true.
It's still warm. The body's still warm.
No,
Okay.
he's just rubbing up against it.
Not living matter. Prestidigitation. Now it's a warm body.
And you arrive, as you're approaching the town, you start to see it. The sort of trees open up, start to thin out a little bit, and in the shadow of the mountains, the sun rises up. You see a small valley. A river winds through the valley at the opening of the town. On this side of the river, you see what could be the ruins of some kind of old structure, possibly a church or a fortress or an outpost of some description. And then your trail winds down and then crosses a bridge into a town of maybe 30 villages. Ells Dale, you see one largest structure in the town is some kind of town hall, as it were, or great hall, and then there are a few flanking buildings, maybe about 4 stately houses, reasonable make, stone foundations on a bunch of these larger houses, and then it sort of peters out into rolling fields, orchards, and vineyards. Obviously the weather is coming in and putting them in their place, no produce is coming out, but you do see a silo, what looks to be a winery out there somewhere, before the trail closes off again and winds off in the direction of the mountain. Anyone can make a history roll who's proficient in history.
Nope.
Yeah. No. Sorry, I thought I took it. I didn't.
Well, You know that in those mountains lies somewhere. That is the mountains of the Neverwinter Wood, and these are the foothills of Mount Hotno. In Mount Hotno, buried somewhere deep, is a place called Gauntlgrim. It used to be a famed city of the dwarves. It was once occupied by dwarves, humans, many races. It was then occupied and taken over, and then, over time, lost to the civilized races, you might call them. Nobody knows where entrances are. Many people who have gone treasure hunting there have disappeared. But this is still quite a ways from the mountain itself. And any creatures that inhabit it probably wouldn't come out this far. However, there were a lot of settlements out here once. And probably was one of those settlements. And it would seem, based on the foundations of the town itself and some of the buildings, that they were built upon the foundations of once dwarven structures, even though they bear the hallmarks of distinctively human construction. As the light snow falls and you start down the path into the town, which seems all in perfect working order, along with a watermill. The real small stream is frozen over at the moment, so the mill is not turning. But you see two figures, small figures, starting across the bridge, just coming across the bridge and starting up the path in your direction. One is smaller than the other. And as you approach, they sort of stop and step to the side of the road and look to you. It appears they are a young human boy and girl. And they seem similarly dressed to the body that you found. They even seem to bear similar features to that young man. And as they see the body draped over your shoulder, a cry rings out. Michael! As the young girl sort of reaches out and sort of in a hand in your direction, and the boy sort of like goes, hushes her up and says, "Oh, we should go."
Kids,
they're
do
turning.
you know Michael?
Make a charisma roll.
That will be a 22.
Wow. Like, it's our brother.
I'll like get down on one knee and like put him down, and just.
They look at you, all of you.
We found him an hour out of town in the face down in the
Yeah, you
snow.
can make a charisma roll without disadvantage because you've done such good work paving the way.
Oh, I'll ruin it here with a nat one, I'm sure. Okay, that's not too bad. Just a charisma check. 17.
Yeah, continue.
We found him just outside town, face down in the snow, and so we thought we'd bring him in. So he didn't.
Oh no.
We don't know what's happened, but it seems to
Michael!
be in at least one
Michael!
person.
So, the young girl sort of runs up and sort of immediately sort of clutches him. He's sort of like, he's dead. And she starts crying. The older boy, he goes, "Oh, he went out last night to try and find some more wood. Just didn't say it was going to be very long, but I don't know, sometimes he gets up to mischief. How far out of town did you find him?"
How far out of town did we find him?
About an hour's walk.
About a mile.
About a mile.
Yeah.
About
So-
a mile.
Oh. Look, I don't know who you are, but perhaps you should come with me to our house. You seem like you're in need of rest and food.
Do you have anyone who knows how to tend wounds? We have people who are sick and injured.
Well, there's a doctor in the town, but also a wise woman. She doesn't live quite so close in the town. She lives a couple of hours out. But if you come, you can come and rest.
That would be greatly appreciated.
Meet my father.
I think at least a couple of us should take her into the healer before she.
Cuts it.
Yeah.
I'll take the kid to the house.
Okay. Oh, come with me, please.
Shoulder up on one hand, and I'll hold the little girl's hand with the other.
Okay, make another charisma roll. Let's see
I'll
if-
stick with Gus
I was
and the
gonna say
kids.
with Gus and the kids too.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Because I was talking to
That
the
was
boy.
less good.
She seems reluctant to
It's a
leave
10.
her brother's side. She wants to stay with her living brother, whose name is Peter. He seems to be about 12 years old, and she is about 5.
I'll meander behind them.
So they lead you down to the bridge. You get a closer look at these ruins. The sun now starts to crest above the mountains, and light fills the valley into the snow, sort of this glistening sort of ambience to the whole place. It feels very much like one of those picture-perfect fairy tale towns. Again, it seems well stocked, well supplied. Everyone is healthy, or at least you see a couple of other people sort of wandering around as you come in. It doesn't seem to be too many people in the town with that many fires. You estimate maybe 70, 80, definitely no more than 100 people in this town. But just across the bridge and just across the main square where the great hall is, you see a large barn and a foundry, a small building attached to it, and they lead you to the bar. So the Peter stops and says, "The town hall is over there. You probably find the doctor there, unless you wanted to go and see him at his house. It's just sort of down the third house on the right." He points to one of the more stately houses. Or you could see the village headman. He's probably in at the moment. And the rest of you, please come and have some food and get some warmth by the forge.
I can take
My father is the smith.
I can take her to the doctor if we're happy with that. If we wanted to get her to see straight away, unless you want to go to the village headman.
For
First?
Dagger, for the regulars, I'll come with you then. And
Alright.
they all seem to be going to the fire. And
Alright.
I'll let you go with Aaron on your own.
And I'll tag along too. 3 and 3.
All right, cool. So, are you going to the doctor as well? Is that
No,
right?
I'm taking the kid to his dad.
Okay.
Yeah, we three are going.
All right. So you three head to the to the forge. You hear like tink 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 going on, and Peter runs in and says, "Father, we found Michael. He's not well."
That kid's gonna have an awful surprise.
A gruff man of about 45, a blacksmith build, comes out and looks down and walks out of the forge. He's wearing his apron and sort of like he's wiping himself down and sort of sees the body. You're still carrying it, and looks at you guys, and comes up and says, Come, quickly, bring him in here. And he sort of clears off the bench.
I'm doing that thing where you make eye contact, and the cops do it, and they're like, "This one."
Yeah.
He takes him in nonetheless and puts him down. Says, "Where did you find him?"
A mile out of town.
He looks to
In the
you
snow.
instinctively.
We found him a mile out of town.
And
We don't know what happened.
There was one set of footprints going towards the town. They seem to have met up with another group of people, and they've all come back to town.
I told him not to go around. I told him not to walk around in winter. Sort of looks at him, rolls him over, says, "He's killed."
Looks like it was an axe to the spine.
Probably not more
Why?
than 2 hours ago, I suspect.
Are the children still listening?
Do you know
Everyone learns something.
how
Tell
this
it.
could have happened?
Peter, Dane, go back to the house. Tell your mother. And fetch some drinks. You guys step into the forge and you start sweating at this point as the heat from the forge starts going on. The end of your fingers start tingling and hurting a little bit. It's just everything is like, oh.
Sensation, what is this?
Run, he's like, yes, you must be cold. Warm yourself by the fires. Dane, have your mother bring some soup out for these people.
Is this a normal occurrence? Are people often being killed around here?
So make an insight roll.
An insight roll. 20.
Natural.
Yes.
He is very concerned, very upset. Seems to be worried about other things, but can see that you are not the kind of people who would kill a child. And he could tell that straight away upon looking at you. This man is obviously, wise enough to be able to tell, or lucky enough, or at least he doesn't treat you suspiciously in this context. He says, an axe? No, people, look. We've had a sickness come through, but not murder. This is something else. Something different. I mean, if you say these tracks, you saw tracks, is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
And where did they go?
Back to town.
What type were they?
Humanoid, average in size. They met up with 2 others, I think, and then head back to town.
Tell me, you're a worshipper of a just God?
Yeah.
You're just some
I'm just a guy.
man of the woods.
I'm just incredibly good looking.
Yes.
Everyone's got
It's true. We've had a spout of sickness recently. Many people in the town have come down with it.
They didn't grow mushrooms inside themselves, did they?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, it's not my duty to take care of that sort of thing. It's all doctors and the wise woman who look after those people. But some of them made it, some of them didn't make it. Some are more or less afflicted. I know that some people lie sick even now, some friends of ours. But I thought it would draw the community closer together, But I guess it's made some people more suspicious of others.
What kind of form does this sickness take?
Well, you come down with some sores and fever, and you lose energy, coughing, fluid in the lungs. It's possibly a curse of some kind. Some of us believe it was put upon us because we didn't send enough of our sons to the war effort. It looks like you come from there. You bear the sign of a military unit. In my younger days, I served myself. I would have gone here, but news had not reached us until very late that the war was happening.
Oh, the war is pretty much over now.
Yep.
We lost.
Yet, it was a good thing you didn't send too many of your sons.
Oh,
It was a bloodbath.
that's no good.
It's just but one battle. There's still hope.
Well, we are lucky enough to be far enough away from the conflict for it not to have affected us yet, I guess. The woman comes in, probably about late 30s. She bears a tray. It's got some bowls of broth on it. Anyone with religion can make a religion check.
Weirdly, I do not.
Well, I'll let you make a check anyway.
Oh, why, thank you. No.
She bears some kind of symbol around her neck. Simple wooden carved symbol. It's be some kind of a horn or something like that. But they come out and they bring you the broth. The 3 of you drink. It suddenly fills you with like warmth and energy again. You lose a level of fatigue as the fire warms you and the broth warms you. So the man introduces himself as Bren Smith. She's my wife, Agatha. And she's like, she puts the bowls down, then rushes over to the body of her child. She starts crying, fussing over him. But it also seems to a certain degree she's a little bit numb. She's like, I never thought it would affect us, you know. We've so many others lost children, loved ones to the sickness, but we were lucky, I guess.
Lucky?
Well, we were not afflicted. I have one aunt. They lie in the sickbed even now. It's the only person in our family who fell ill, but only recently. We're not sure how long they have or if they'll pull through. Some people they do, some people they don't. The Bran says, oh, hush, hush. Don't bother these people with that now. They're obviously wary. You have a place to stay. What do you plan on doing? It's a vicious winter. I didn't see you traveling with much. Just 2 mules.
Yeah, we could just here to at least rest for a bit. We're exhausted.
No,
Very
we have
well.
organized accommodation.
We can, you can stay in our barn if you like. It's not much, but the animals there should keep you warm, and the wall is adjacent to the forge, so it radiates heat inside, even in the coldest of the winter. So if you like, I can show you there. You can put the mules there and make beds with the hay for yourself, or in the hay loft, if you like.
We would appreciate that.
Very well. So he leads you out, back out into the snow, and shows you what's a large barn with like a hay loft. There's a bunch of cows, goats, some pigs, other animals in there. But it's definitely spacious, smells like animals, but he was right, it is in fact warm. And with the food in your belly and the tiredness from the sinking in from the walk, you guys sit down and are fighting off unconsciousness as you sort of pretty much are about to fall into a slumber. You three.
Yes.
You follow the directions and you wander past the town hall. It's still very early in the morning when you're arriving, so there's not much activity in the town. But you do see a few people sort of like just scutter outside in the snow, wearing not much, to like grab some water, crack the ice on top of a sort of trough and fill up a scoop, and then run back inside quickly with the sort of steam escaping from their mouth. So the visions of orchards off into the distance, and lines of rows and rows of fences for the vineyard where it would normally operate, sort of line up. And you sort of stop at the house which you pointed out, which is a stately stone house, 2 levels. And it's just across from where looks like the winery is. And then next to the winery is also like a cooper's shop by the looks of it. It's like an open shed that's just full of barrels and half-constructed barrels. Somebody's out there and they sort of just give you a look as you approach the doctor's door.
I knock on the door.
Bang, bang, bang. You hear some movement inside, and eventually the door opens. A man in his nightgown, older man, probably about late 30s, I guess not that old. He wears a pair of small spectacles. He's got a nightcap and a nightgown, and then he wears a large crushed velvet, black crushed velvet overcloak with a wool lining. It strikes you instantly because the wool of the lining, or the fur of the lining, seems to be of incredibly fine quality. Some kind of mink or equivalent critter of small softness. But he looks out, he's sort of like, says, oh, strangers. Oh, good morning.
Morning. Are you the... we were told that you may be the doctor of this village here.
I am a doctor, and I am, in fact, in this village. Yes, of course. What can I do for you in this bright early morning?
We've travelled very far, and our friend is very sick, and we were wondering if you could please...
Please, sir, save her life.
I can definitely see what I can do. Come in. Please, you'll have to excuse my state of undress. But come in. You come into the room, and it seems like there's a large single floor, 2 other rooms, 2 doors go adjacent to this main room, and then a set of stairs go up into what you apparently believe would probably be bedroom type area. The walls are adorned with it's pretty simple and straightforward in here. It looks like an office surgery room. There's like a bench where you lay Aaron, and then sort of racks of equipment sort of line the walls. Does anyone have any kind of medicine or alchemy? Yes, you can make a medicine or arcana. If anyone's got an arcana, they can make a roll.
That would be 16 on medicine.
So we need proficiency in the skill to make a check?
No, you can make a roll. Look around, a lot of conventional medical apparatus, and then a few kind of alchemical apparatus lie around. Some stills, retorts, a few sort of base materials and things like that could be used to make other things. It seems like it's half surgery, half lab. So also, the trappings that are in the room strike you as the things of somebody who belong to somebody who is either well-traveled or spent some time in a city. Finely made ornaments, pieces of porcelain, pieces of jewelry, a pocket watch sits on one of the benches. Even his demeanor now, as he comes out of his, comes back down from upstairs, and he's dressed in his robes. They appear to be the robes of a city doctor, not a small town doctor. He comes down, he goes, all right. He sort of rolls his sleeves up, has a look, cuts away the cloth, looks at the wound, and goes, oh, yeah, that's not good. And says, we'll definitely need to keep her going for a bit. Here, administer this, please. He hands you like a vial. Looks like a healing potion of a dark color.
Okay, cool.
Just slowly. And just in her mouth, it will be fine. It seems to absorb in the same way that a healing potion does, so it just enters her mouth and then magically sort of absorbs into her body. But he pulls in and he actually pulls out, sort of like does some cutting and digging. She's like, oh. And then she's, after a little while of, she's prodding to start with and then sort of pulling back. But as you administer this stuff, it also seems to have like a numbing effect, and she stops feeling the pain so much as well. And he reaches in with pulls out some tray of apparatus and pulls out some tweezers, and cuts, and then pulls out these pieces of the tip of a spear that had been like lodged in there. So you know now why your healing endeavors didn't work, because you were unable to heal around this festering wound, this orc spear that was covered in rust and God knows what.
Oh, they crap on the tips of their spears before battle. That's the
Orcs.
thing we do.
So I said, that was nasty. Puts it aside and says, okay, so give one more of these, and that will. She'll probably go to sleep within the next little while. She's already sort of like slumbering, but it seems like her fever is breaking already. And she'll need to rest. Do you have somewhere to stay?
Yes, I believe Maybe we'll have to check with our colleagues.
Okay, very well. All right, well, you should be fine to move her now. I'll just bandage her up. She'll be fine. So, what brings you here? You seem to be no usual travelers. You have the markings of a military company, I see, upon you.
The third Daggerford irregulars fleeing as refugees from the battle that we just lost.
Yes, we only recently heard about the battle. Tell me more about it.
Apart from the fact that it was bloody and quickly lost, there's not much to tell. Lives were lost, many of us fled.
It's terrible.
It's not
news.
a good story, but there's plenty to tell, frankly. Colossal waste of life, incompetence of leadership, ignoring facts, no fallback plans.
As a doctor, I understand. You're in the room and you see there's you make a insight check.
Still disadvantage?
No. You're so you've come in. It's warm in the house. He's sort of
feeling on my
You
inside.
lose a level of disadvantage at this point. You lose a level of fatigue, so you're 1 point back to being normal.
12.
And he's like, what did you get, sorry?
I got a 7 on my inside.
7. He seems to sort of break the conversation, lose attention briefly, and pick up a sort of notebook that he just realizes is there and puts it in a drawer of the desk and closes it and locks it and then asks, and there are many others heading this direction. We're quite out of the way. How did you even find us?
We were heading, we were actually heading towards Neverwinter.
Mm-hmm.
And
Towards Neverwinter, through the forest.
Yeah, but winter, as you may well be aware, has come quite early. So
It is,
one of our commanding officers suggested we came here.
you have an officer with you.
She's on the table.
She's in front of you.
And there are no other ranking officers or nobles among you?
Goran? Is he ranking? I think he ranks over.
He does not rank over anyone else.
Okay.
He's just a soldier like the rest of you.
So no one. Who's next in? No, there's no.
No, no one is superior.
Saria is leader.
Saria?
Yeah, Saya. I am.
Saya.
I am next in command.
Oh, very well. I'm. As the winter is what it is, what are your means of transport? You have some all-weather horses that you've come here on?
we were really caught unawares. We were hoping to weather the winter here, if possible, to be
Well, look,
really quite frank.
I'm sure that would be fine. There are probably people who can put you up. The village headman is very accommodating. You should likely meet him. Look, I'm sorry, I haven't introduced myself. I'm Dr. Gregor Than. I'm very pleased to make your acquaintance. I'm sorry, you seem cold. Would you
I
like
dust my
some?
hands off and shake his hand.
Would you like some food? I don't have much here, but I could warm up what's left of the pie.
That
Excellent.
would be lovely.
Great.
Thank you very
Yes,
much.
please.
Oh,
Thank
excellent,
you.
excellent. Well, we'll sit. I'll just duck off to the kitchen. 1 minute. So he ducks off into the kitchen and starts fussing around. You're left alone in the surgery, and Aaron seems to be breathing easily at this point, and you're waiting around for a little bit. Is there anything you'd like to do in his absence?
I'm just gonna wander through the kind of more alchemical
Mhm.
and kind of see like what medicines he's have, how
Yeah.
much like if there are any little experiments around. Just like have a look at the medical
Yeah.
stuff.
You see, amongst the things, there is a sample. Give me an investigation roll.
I chastise you. Saria!
Just it's an interesting place. It's only 6.
Okay, cool. There are a bunch of like notebooks as well that you see. They look like they're all handwritten notebooks, as well as 2 other sort of bound books that are proper ones. But apart from that, that's what it is. He comes back out and he's got just a wooden tray, and he just puts it down like crossways on top of his surgical implements, and sort of holds up some bowls, and they've just got rough cut hunks of pie in them, with a bit of stew put on top. So it's not particularly warm, but it's warmer than it is outside.
No,
It's
thank
lovely,
you.
thank
It's great.
You eat it, it's actually really good. So this is, I don't bake myself, but one of the Mrs. Bart from the bakery, they make a mean pie.
Please let us know if there's anything we can do to repay you for your kindness.
Oh, look, nothing at all. I mean, I'm obviously interested in hearing the stories from the front and who served, what the plans are, what's going on next, but I'm sure that a lot of other people, including the village headman, would want to hear these things too, so it'd be worth probably meeting with him and talking about it.
Are we best? I know it's not exactly a reasonable hour. Are we best to wait before we meet the headman, or should we?
People are usually early risers around here. You just caught me unaware. I only recently moved back here from the city myself, but
From which city?
Maribor.
Ah,
Yes, that's where I took my studies and spent some time afterwards practicing. But I was born here and have returned.
Maribor was
You
the
guys?
town that we
were going to.
Yes.
That you were on your way to, and that's where the armies were marching on. You guys have the food is sunk in. Erin is well enough that you realize she's not going to die at this point, and you suddenly are hit by the fatigue, and tiredness sets in. Yes, God, you guys seem exhausted.
Yes. We should probably get going. We should move Erin.
Where are you staying?
We don't know.
Look, our friends have just said, I think it's the foundry at the front of the, but I don't know if
The
that's
Smith.
where we're staying.
They've gone
Make
to
an
see-
insight roll, all of you.
15.
17.
All right. As soon as he says the Smiths, he says the word with distinct disdain, and you detect a certain amount of mistrust or dislike that he has for the Smiths.
I do not.
We sir have nowhere to stay. Could I indulge your fire for a nap by its side until I'm able to sort out some other alternative accommodations? Can we basically
I
just
wouldn't
crash
want you
here?
to. I have to unfortunately clean up after the recent surgery in here, but I've had some. Yeah, it's as you can tell, it's warm enough in here, but it's not that warm. You'll be better off if you see the headman. He'll be able to set you up with some
Quite
accommodation.
so, I
I'm
understand.
sure.
Thank you
Thank
for
you
everything
very
you've done
much.
already.
But be careful of those Smiths. They're not to be trusted.
Thank you for your advice.
So thank you. We will take it under our wing. Thank you.
Very well. He sees you out. You guys lift Erin. He makes like a splint for her, and you guys carry her out. And you head back towards the.
Well, yeah.
forge?
That was a bit...
Hang on, so he's kicked Erin out on a splint?
No, he said you've said you're taking her with you.
Yeah.
So he's fixed her up to travel.
So should we head back to the foundry? Should we
The
see...
healing potion he gave her, whatever it seems to have worked this time, it seems like the healing was prevented by the weapon or the fragment of the weapon that was stuck in her thigh.
Let's go to the headman.
The headman? Straight
Yeah.
to the headman?
See if we can
That's where
arrange
our-
some accommodations.
Alright, let's...
Where we're likely to get accommodations necessary.
Yeah.
And they also need to hear our story about the developments of the war.
Yeah,
And
very true.
Quite possibly about the murder of one of their citizens.
Yeah?
Yes.
All right. So you guys are crossing. You're go back out and you're heading towards heading towards the main hall.
Yes.
The doctor says if you want to wait a minute, I can take you there.
Sure, we can...
We're waiting for
Wait a
what?
minute.
You to clean. I can help you with that.
I should change,
We can't help you with that.
or at least wash my hands. I'll do it in the other room. I'm back in a second. He sort of goes to the other room. Quickly washes his hands. While he's out of the room, is there anything you'd like to do? No, you're
I
pretty tired.
didn't see him dodgily stash anything, so... no.
I'm just saying.
I did, but I'm too polite to do anything about it. So.
Okay, that's fine. So he cleans his hands and he says, "Come." As you're running over, as you sort of leave the place and you're sort of going towards the great hall, you see Peter come over from the forge. He's like, "Oh, hello.
Oh, hi, hi.
My father. As he approaches and meets the gaze of the doctor, he appears to sort of be nervous and shrink away. He's my father said to say that your friends are staying in his barn. And you're welcome to join them anytime you feel.
Thank you.
You noticeably see Gregor giving him a death stare.
He's a 12-year-old kid, right?
Yeah.
You don't know his history.
Regardless, is like Gregor's like, I think we'll be fine to sort them out with accommodations. Thank you, boy. Yes, sir. He sort of like sheepishly walks away. Come with me. This way, sorry, this way. And leads you up to the main hall. This is the large vaulted building. It would appear that even though it could fit 2 stories in it, it's just a single floor. The foundations here, you're now getting closer to it. You see they're distinctly dwarven foundations, well-hewn stonework with a bit of natural edge put on them just to make them, stylized and fit in with the landscape. It's rocky outcrops here and there. And sort of rounded, almost Art Nouveau style windows up the front. Thatched roofs on all the buildings here, including the main hall. Adjacent, it appears that there is stables and a kitchen built off of the main hall, as well as 2 other smaller houses. They look like kind of guest houses or bunk houses. Either side of this main building, there are also those other stately houses that I mentioned earlier. You catch sight of some people looking at you from the windows, and the doctor comes up and just opens the door to the main hall. Inside, you see there are 2 large fireplaces either side, and at the far end there's sort of a raised platform where there are a few seats. Running around the place, you see a few servants, just people here and there, regular townsfolk, You're really, really tired at this point. Okay. And he's like, if you just wait here, I'll go and check. You want to rush over to the fires. There's still ashes from the fire. There's still coals from the night before burning in there, and you feel a radiant heat. You notice even though there are windows in this place, they all seem to be boarded up. And the place seems very hot. It's probably just because you come from outside, but in here it's very warm. You immediately want to take your clothes off.
Alright, so I guess we'll go, because no one's around, right?
No, but said he's going to get the village headman.
Okay, I might just go closer to a fire.
Yeah.
Are we really going to go with the plan that I'm next in command?
You are battlefield promotion. Who's it left after you? It's you or me.
Make a good commander? Okay. I do see that. Alright. Let's give this a red hot go then. Alright. We just wait politely.
Okay. You guys you don't have to wait long, and soon enough a mature man comes out, and he's followed by another younger man and a woman, and all 3 of them are dressed in very stately robes. They have large gold necklaces that are wide and high carat count, and the furs, like the doctor, very, very plush and well-made furs, finely stitched clothes, gold or silver buckles, and jewels adorn much of their outfits.
Is this pajamas? Like, we're early in the morning, right?
No, by this time it's about 7, so assuming he's already been up and about and just dressed, then yeah. Normally people wake up around 5 o'clock. The doctor said he was a late riser. So he comes out and he has a weathered face. It seems more or less intelligent, but through the ruddiness of his features, a certain sense of intelligence comes through his eyes. And he's looking at the 3 of you. See up and down. You guys, soldiers from the front, welcome. It's good to see you. Oh, you must be starved. Have you eaten?
A small bit of pie at the doctor's.
Oh, servants, feed them. Bring them food, bring them meat, bring them wine.
Thank you.
Pull up some seats. They get some benches pulled up by the fireside. They say, take off your cloaks here. Fetch them some gowns. And some people come out, and they've got these nice, just green woolen gowns, simply made.
Gowns.
Warm. Yeah.
Oh, slippers.
Yes. No socks. No, it's barefoot. So it's a wooden floor, but bits of hay is like thrown around to just generally absorb any extra moisture that goes down. You'll either be walking in here barefoot or shoes. It depends if you want to warm yourself by the fireside. Like, yes, come, sit by the fireside. So, the doctor tells me that one of your number was injured. Senior officer.
Yes, Erin. She sadly was injured by an orc in the last battle. She hasn't fared too well.
Tell me of the battle. I mean, it must have been glorious,
Well,
yes?
she fared better than the 16 other companymen who perished and didn't make it out. So,
Make it out? You make it sound as if you were escaping.
yes.
So the
A
battle
rout.
was lost. Oh, a sad day for the Lord's Alliance, that is for sure. Insight check.
Wait, sorry.
8.
10.
13.
You are no longer disadvantaged, guys. You
Oh.
are now feeling comfortable and relaxed,
I think
albeit
that's-
very tired. So he is. What's the highest anyone got?
13, I believe.
13. Yeah. Well, it seems to be perhaps a little bit facetious, you know. Your time-honored years of experience sort of give you an idea. It's so sad. Yes, but
I recognize a fellow actor.
you recognize a fellow actor. Whether or not he's trying to push one agenda or another, you don't know, but he's definitely a very false person, just in general. Well, I'm glad that you've made it here. We are well supplied for the winter, and we welcome good soldiers like yourselves with hardened military experience, and we're glad to see that you made it out alive. And did you hear anything of the Wentworths? How did they fare in the battle?
They haven't you heard anything?
Just make a raw intelligence roll, guys.
And what was their standard again?
Oh, it's cocked.
Because I'm 19 on the...
8.
It was a glorious griffin standard in gold and azure.
Oh, the one I saw being overrun by orcs
Yes.
from the thing is... they fared about the same as all the other companies on the field, I say diplomatically.
Oh, so they also experienced heavy losses.
It is likely, yes.
So sad. So sad. Oh, let us drink to them. Some wine.
Yeah.
Pours you out some wine. It's good.
Well, pour it on the floor for the
Of
those that
course.
didn't make it.
And then one more.
And of course one in the mouth. Of course, for those who did make it. And then glug, glug, glug.
So who is the ranking officer here?
That would be me, Sire Lucine
Sire.
of the 3rd Daggerford Irregulars.
Of course, Daggerford. Yes, that's a nice town. I've heard something of it before. Yes, I've seen it on the map. Look, you guys seem very exhausted. Perhaps you would like to turn in the morning, I guess, and come back and tell me more tales of your adventures later.
Yeah,
That would be good.
that would be
All right, very well,
fantastic.
very well. Look, servants, come. Mary, come. A older, like 50-year-old woman comes up. Like, oh, yes, how? Oh, can I help you? It's like, show these fine people to a room and make sure there's one for their injured commander as well.
We should inform our friends of where we are.
Let them know that we got better beds than they're sleeping next to a fire.
Certainly, we only have 2 rooms available, unfortunately, that we can set you up in.
I'm
But we can put some.
The others are warm and comfortable.
Well, I'm
sure
more
that
meant in
it will
terms
be
of they should
fine.
know where we are, then they should come and stay with us.
Yes. And sorry, what were your names? You're Sarya, yes, and you are
Lynn, pleasure to meet you.
Lynn Lawson. I am, I'm so rude, I'm sorry, I should have introduced myself. I am Ivan Bredholm. This is my family. This is, my oldest son, Jacob.
Jerkov.
Jacob, yes, that's right. And this is my darling daughter, Deanna. And she's a pleasure, she says. He says, to sure. And they're like,
Does he like click his heels together and do a bow?
No,
Not
he's
that
just
kinda
polite and
heavy.
reserved. He seems to hold his father in reasonably high esteem, and so he's back on. He goes, look, Mary will take you away.
Is Mary the housekeeper or
Seems to be
the
one of the
wife?
servants. Yes. Sorry, it wasn't Mary. Jermaine Trot. Says, please follow Jermaine. She'll sort you out. Jermaine says, oh, come on, follow me. We'll get you some rooms. Let's put down some extra bedding, and you'll all be sorted for the evening. We can put 2 in a room for sure.
I'll sleep on a blanket in a corner. I'm that tired.
So she leads you out through the back door. It's like at the back of the hall there were 2 doors going out to the one to the left, one to the right. She takes you out to the back and to the right, and then down, goes out into the snow, and then directly across just a few feet is another door leading into the guest house, and then to the right a door leading into the stables. From the stables you can make a perception roll.
19.
Sounds of somewhat tortured whinnying, as if a horse is in pain. Give me a nature roll.
8.
Not sure of the cause, but yeah,
Well,
you hear that nonetheless. It sounds like something distinctly painful the horse is going through.
that's not right.
Not right.
Mary's
You're a horse. in
Jermaine's
pain.
like, come on quickly, let's just get you guys warm and in some good clothes, come on. And she opens the door on the other side, and you see in the small guest house, there's just a central corridor going down the middle. There's 2 doors to the left and 2 doors to the right. Doors to the left aren't locked, and those are the doors that she shows you into. And she shows you 2 small rooms, but nonetheless, there's and she starts putting bedding on the floors. Then so says, come on, Lila, here you go, you can rest in here. You sort of see the bedding, and it's like, oh, there's somewhere to lie down and relax. It looks so comfortable. It's not just the average straw bed. It looks like it's wadded full of cotton or something like that, with some kind of other material, wool possibly. They have sheep here. It says, all right. Very well, I'll leave you to it then. You can come and go as you please. If you need anything, you can find me in the kitchen, just to the front right of the main hall. We'll just in there, or of course you'll find any of the servants around the place. I'm Jermaine and the Trot family. Anyone in my we serve, look after this estate on behalf of the Lord. So if you need anything, grab any of us. They'll find me, and we'll be able to sort you out. Look, don't mind. Sometimes there's we've got some possums in the roof sometimes, so it's they won't cause you any trouble. Just pay them no mind. She leaves.
Sure, it's fine.
All right. And she goes, well, I take it you're gonna get yourself some sleep then.
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
Very well. I'll leave you to it.
Right.
And she walks out. You guys notice that the 2 doors on the opposite side of the hallway are both locked.
From the outside.
Yes. And as you bed in for the night, or for the day, did you want to go and talk to your friends at the barn?
I was going to stumble to the barn and then fall asleep there.
Okay. Alright, so you go out, you sort of leave these. You guys going to stay here in the beds, though?
I intend to go and see what that horse is in pain.
Alright.
But having seen the bed, I'm going to roll a will check and possibly just pass out. No, nat 20. I'm definitely dealing with the horse.
Alright, cool. So you are, you decide to leave. You just fall into the bed. You flop out.
I'm done.
We're going to go and we should go and tell the others where we are. But really, I just want to leave with her so that once we're at the door, I go,
Alright.
by the way, let's check this out.
So you 2 go out the door, and then immediately to your left is the back door to the stables. You want to go, and the door you see is slightly ajar.
I'm walking there like that's where we're meant to go,
Alright, cool.
even though I'm definitely off-piste.
Yep, and so you
Oh,
go
yeah.
in,
I'll
and
follow.
you open the door. You find yourself in the stables. There's 3 stalls either side of the central corridor, and then the far end, this is just a small back door. At the far end, there's a big double door that opens out into the town square. And a few stalls down, you hear the sound. Sounds like a horse getting extreme pain. Nobody's in the stables at the moment. Just like to creep through.
Yeah, let's walk up to it. That's not right. What's going on?
Okay.
I peer my head around the corner.
You guys get there, and you sort of like move through, and you get to the stable. You make a perception roll, guys.
14.
15.
Okay, cool. As you're walking through, you notice that there are there are 3 horses on the left-hand side, and there are 3 horses on the right-hand side. And of the horses on the left-hand side, the first two that you pass, both seem to be quite pregnant, visibly swollen bellies. And you sort of like going to the end, and you're sort of coming around the corner, and this horse is whinnying in pain, its eyes wild, it's lying on its side upon the ground, sort of kicking wildly, smashing at the sides of the stalls. It breaks a bit of wood off. It's, you see, looking at its stomach, and it's full, also pregnant. It's about to give birth beyond that. And you see lines, like a protrusion in fabric, stick out like a fine point and then run along before shrinking back into the body. And again, a kick of something inside trying to get out. As you pass out into consciousness, Saya, into sleep, Saya, you are kind of disturbed as you're sort of tossing around and fading in and out, and maybe it's just a dream, maybe it's your imagination, maybe it's the possums in the roof. If possums sounded like the red raw stumps of somebody's fingers scraping against a wooden door. We're gonna end game here, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ding the bell button to stay abreast of all future installments of The Platinum Mask. Only on Tabletop Dynasties.